Okay, so today I'm going to talk about how to have Visual Studio generate models based on a database. That way you don't have to type anything into it, as well as it will add the connection string and all of the extra stuff as well. Just a forenote though, Anderson does not necessarily recommend this way because he says when you have to get super specific, it can sometimes cause problems. But I thought I'd throw out this tutorial for people for the final because it could help save some time. So with that, go ahead and with your project, I'm just going to name mine Web Application 4. And I'm going to show you authentication just so, because that adds a lot of models that might make you wig out a little bit. But you put on that and then hit OK, and let it generate. Of course, Visual Studio takes forever. You guys can just fast forward this part until it's actually created. Okay, so now that the project's created, the first thing you need to do is make sure that you have Entity Framework installed. So go to NuGet Packager, Entity Framework. Okay, so once Entity Framework is installed, next thing you do is, well, the first thing you do is build the project, and make sure it succeeds. And then you can come to your models, right click, hit add, new item, and then over here click data, ADO.NET Entity Data Model. And you can name it whatever you want. You can name it database models. Hit add, And then you want to make sure that it's EF Designer from database. Next. And then you're going to hit new connection string. That's going to take a minute to come up. So once it comes up, go ahead and either type in your server name, or you can hit the drop down to select like your local server, and then select the database you want to generate models for. So for example, on the final, this would be the database that you've already run the script in SQL Management Studio. But for example, for this example, I'm just going to use the MBA database, and you can test the connection. Hit OK. And then here, where it says entities, that's where you want to type in context. Spelled correctly, context. Just like Dr. Anderson does. Hit next. And then I'll say, what do you want to add? So you can go through and you can select individual tables, or you can just select all of the tables. And it's just going to be named MBA model. Again, that doesn't really matter. And then hit finish. So during this part, if it comes up with an error message, or it says like this could be harmful to your computer, just hit yes or hit OK. It's not really actually going to do anything. Okay, so once it's complete, it will come up and show you the diagram, kind of like an ERD, whatever, of the different tables you have and their different properties. And if you've connected them on SQL Management Studio, it'll show those connection lines. The NBA one is not connected, so that doesn't matter. But once you do that, the next thing you need to do is, again, build your project. Once it succeeds, then you can do right click on controllers, add controller, the MVC5 controllers with views using Entity Framework, and then choose your database. And then most of these just come with the single sign-in authentication. That's why I clicked it. So none of this came from the database. But for example, if I wanted to make a players table, that one did come. Or you saw there's position and team. So just select whichever one you want, name it whatever you want, and then hit add. And then there you go. Scaffolded controller. It's connected to the database by adding this down here, which, by the way, over here on the model side. So this is the model that it created, and then when you break it down to down here, database models.tt, this holds the actual models. So you can go in and edit them if you want. I wouldn't necessarily do that because it's already done it for you. But if you ever want to add something else, you can. And there you go. Those other models are generated from the database, and they're going to line up perfect. And then you can scaffold controllers from them. And just like a short side note, if you ever do need to change something on the database, so you go to Server Explorer and you change something in that database, and then you need to update your models, what you can do is come and select database models.edmx, and it will show you this. And then on whatever table you updated, you can right click and hit update model from the database. and then just click the refresh and hit finish, and then that will go through and update any of the changes that you made in the database. We'll edit the models in the project. So I hope that was helpful. Again, Anderson doesn't always recommend this, so it's up to you guys whether or not you use it, but I thought it'd be helpful for the final.